Have you ever seen a child say to their parents, "Mom, Dad, at bedtime, can you please tell me a good night PowerPoint story?" No. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Unconscious Communication Secrets. My name is Munir Al-Busaidi, and okay, hold on. I just need to get this going. All right. There we go. All right. Let me start this again. All right. Here we go. Let me start this again. I'm recording. Okay. Have you ever seen a child say to their mom and dad, "Mom, Dad, it's bedtime. Can you please tell me a good night PowerPoint?" No, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to another episode of Unconscious Communication Secrets. My name is Munir, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the most powerful techniques in communication, and that is storytelling. Storytelling is extremely powerful. And it's very, very important. Basically, if you want to be able to get your point across very well, stories are the key. It's the metaphor that I like to use. It's like the Trojan horse, right? You see, if you know the story of the Trojan horse, basically one army they put their whole army into this whole gift that was shaped like a horse and took it up to the gates of their enemy. And the enemy opened the gates, and this Trojan horse went in. And then at night, the whole army descended from this big horse, this big statue. And when it comes to persuasion and influence, I mean, we're not talking about your enemies, etc. However, getting your point across sometimes requires a little bit of embedding in a gift. Now, we are all hardwired to love stories. You watch movies, you watch TV. In fact, when you talk to your friends, you're always telling stories. Like when you talk to your spouse, when you explain how your day went, etc. Anybody that you like, whenever you're talking in stories. Now, we all have this sort of critical mind, and our critical mind is it's like having a guard at the gate, right? It prevents loads of different messages from coming through. So if you go and try and tell someone to do something, they're not going to want to do it, because the guard is just sort of the guard of their mind. Their critical thinking is just like, stop. But as soon as you say the words like "once upon a time," then the critical mind just goes, this is a story. I'm not going to reject this. Does that make sense? Like, it's a story. I get it. I don't need to be alert. And so the mind is more receptive to receiving bits of information. As soon as you say the words "once upon a time," I mean, just try and think of it. Like, you go up to someone and you say, "Hey, you should do this," or this is what's happened. As soon as you say "this is what's happened," they go, "No, it didn't." They'll question it. But if you say, "Oh, once upon a time," they go, "Oh, this is a story. I don't need to reject it." And so stories are very, very powerful because they can help you get your point across with minimal resistance. So when it comes to persuasion, when it comes to influencing, when it comes to transforming people, having a story is going to be extremely powerful. So let me just see, is anyone online real quick? All right, cool. So let me tell you how I kind of got into a little bit of understanding the whole power behind stories. As many of you know, I'm very passionate about personal development, etc. And for a long time, I'd go to some different events, and I'd go and I'd hear, for example, Tony Robbins. Let's say I'd go I'd hear Tony Robbins speak, or I'd go to his event, or listen to a tape, and then I'd be like, "Oh my God, this makes so much sense." And he'd explain something, and I'd come back and I'd go, "Oh my God, this is amazing. this is why I haven't been getting results or something. And I'd go to someone and I'd tell them the Cliff Notes version. I'd basically come and tell them, oh, you need to do this, this, this. And then people would just be like, okay. And they wouldn't do it, or they wouldn't appreciate it. And I'd always be like, how are you not seeing how amazing this is? This is gonna transform everything. And they'd be like, no, okay. But they didn't buy into it. I mean, I literally just came with the Cliff Notes. It's like that guy that kind of comes and tells you a joke, and they come and they say, oh my God, and the chicken crossed the road because it wanted to get to the other side, and they missed out like a whole bunch. And you're like, oh, yeah, that didn't work. Hey Nabs, hi Sayed, Salman, Raza, great to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Nabs, this is live, so you want to rewind, you wait till a bit later and then you can rewind. So we're doing this live right now, so you can't rewind while we're doing live, but you can ask questions. So I'd sort of sit there and I'd go, okay, and I'd always wonder what was going wrong. And then I realized, like, I was attending this thing by a guy called Russell Brunson, and he was talking about how he had the exact same thing. He would be teaching people, and he'd be like, "Why don't you get it?" And then one day he said something to people, and he said, "Oh my God, you guys don't even know what I went through to learn what I've just to learn what I've just shared with you." And he said, "I had to start 5 companies. I had to do this. I did this. I lost this much money. I did this and did." And he listed all the things that led him to get that epiphany. And as soon as he explained the story behind how he had this epiphany, how he learned his thing, and then everyone went, "Oh my God, yes, this is gold." And that's when he realized, I can't just tell people what to do. I gotta tell a story, and the story of how I discovered it, and then share the epiphany, because then that's when people will appreciate it. And so that's what we're talking about today. Like, when it comes to getting your point across, when it comes to being persuasive, when it comes to being able to transform people, telling people what to do will bring up the guard at their mind, bring up their critical thinking. They'll start to question everything. But as soon as you start to tell a story, just like if you say to someone, "Once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far, far away," that one's for you, Nabs. He's a big Star Wars fan. As soon as you say something along those lines, that questioning part of the mind, the part of the mind that sort of says, "Is this true? I don't know." But as soon as it's a story, well, it's a story. Let me just sit and listen. It's a story of how they went through it. But then when you're telling a story, if you're telling a powerful story that has a point to it, where you get the emotions across, etc., then a person will start to feel it. So I highly recommend, if you are looking to really increase your communication, you want to take your communication to that whole next level, then starting to adapt stories to your communication. Hold on, wait, where is it? Start to tell stories where if someone's going through a hard time, tell a story about someone that was going through a hard time, but don't say, "There's a guy just like you," and just tell a story of a guy that went through a hard time, but it's because of his time that he became a hero and overcame all sorts of like random obstacles. But so stories, again, very, very, very powerful. So, phrase of the day: you want communication glory? Learn to tell a story. It will transform everything. If you're a public speaker, tell a story. The worst thing that you can do is just go, "Okay, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 3. Tell a story, make a point. Tell a story, make a point. Tell a story, make a point. Same as if you're in transformational work. If you're in persuasion work, you can tell a story of one of your clients that had some of the same reservations that maybe you're having, and then tell them about how they overcame those reservations because they discovered X, Y, Z. Tell a story, make a point. Tell a story, make a point. All right, cool. So with that, I'm going to end today's video. And remember, you want communication glory, learn to tell a story. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Lots of love. And I will catch you on another video very, very soon. Peace out. One love. And I will see you soon.